different uses for different plants. But chamomile tea bags are good for the eyes, for several conditions like infections in the eyes and things like that. But as far as the mystical and magical properties, so you could put a little bit, to bring prosperity in. And you could just put a little bit, maybe in your purse or maybe in your pocket, something like that. I mean, it could even be a tea bag, right? It's just in a little paper thing. It's also good if you want to sprinkle it, if you even believe in this stuff, but you could sprinkle it around your property to remove curses or spells, things of that sort. So passing the chamomile around. Now this is a funny use that you can use, is that it's supposed to be, because again it's supposed to be a prosperity charm, is that before gambling it said you could wash your hands in chamomile tea to bring you good luck when gambling.
Don't tell them that.
Well, I like to talk about the folkloric and the history of things, and again, maybe 90% of the things I'm going to talk about today, maybe it's more of a historical perspective. Maybe you don't even believe in charms or evil spirits on your property. But again, just fun, because in the season of Halloween and talking about witches and curses and spells and all of that stuff, just to hear about what the plants were used for in those manners other than the medicinal ways. So that's a little bit about chamomile. I have the top. I'll let you top it, and then we can take this home and make some tea with it. Yeah, we're going to be probably making some tea with it in the class this afternoon. Okay, let me see. I've got so many things in my basket here.
Is this the chamomile? Is this the leaves or the buds of the
Those
plant?
Those are the flowers. Generally, the flowers used, but there's a little bit of the leaf in there. And the thing about herbs is, sometimes one particular part is used, but a lot of times you can use the whole plant. So this is mostly the flowers.
So you said that there's the roots, there's the actual stem, there's the leaves, there's the flowers.
So with chamomile, generally it's mostly the flowers, but you're still going to get a few leaves in there and things like that. So now I have a very small container here, and this is cloves. And let's see, I think I'm going to put the lids over here. And cloves. You probably all know what cloves smell like. So cloves are really good. They're supposed to drive away hostility and negativity. And so you'll see, like, I wear a little pouch, and you don't have to wear a little pouch, but people always did wear little pouches like this, and they would put, like, maybe today, at work there's this meeting and there's that person who, maybe isn't so keen on your ideas, and so, they would put in, of course they probably weren't in a corporate setting, but you'd put in maybe a few cloves or something, or a little
council,
right? Or you'd put in a certain stone or something like that. And so you don't have to wear a little pouch around your neck, though. You have a pocket, right? Or you could just tuck some in your pocket, tuck some in your shoe. There's lots of little places you can tuck things. I was gonna say, women, we tuck it, in here, and there's lots of places where you can just tuck a little bit of an herb. So cloves, medicinally they're amazing. We're going to learn about them this afternoon, but they can drive away the negativity and hostility. Anyone ever need that? Ever have some negativity or hostility coming your way? So just one little clove. And it says it will stop gossip. So sometimes maybe people are gossiping about you.
Actually, I've done it also, is get a lemon and then put the cloves inside the lemons and then hang it in your closet.
Right, people traditionally in Victorian times they made what are called pomanders, and they would put those in oranges, and you can stick the cloves in an orange. You can cover the whole orange, and it dries and it scents things nicely. But it probably comes, we think of it as scenting your closet nicely, but it probably comes because in Victorian times they believed in these magical, mystical things and fairies, and so
it keeps moths out too, doesn't it?
Probably.
The strong scent keeps out moths.
Right.
Yeah, so why go buy chemical mothballs when you can put cloves in a piece of fruit?
Yes, yes, and it's a fun, little activity to do. But these all came from these beliefs. They probably hung them in their homes to ward off gossip and negativity, and then it came to be because as things change and the religious climate changed, you know, that wasn't an okay thing, but people still love them. So now we say, well, it's pretty and it's nice and it smells good in your closet, and then that's okay. So some other things, they also use an attraction sachet, so you're trying to attract something to you, you know, someone, something, money, or whatever. And, oh, it's also said that if you chew on them, it's said to stir up bodily lusts. So that's another one.
On the clove?
Yes, on the clove. Everyone's taking notes on that.
Yeah, don't give that to our home.
And then to stir up bodily lust. So to chew on a little clove. And also, what I find is very interesting, it's also said, especially the oil is said to bring comfort to the mourning and bereaved. And I find this very interesting. And speaking of the magical properties of these plants, yes, is I spent a weekend, a couple weekends ago, doing a public, participating in a public grieving ritual with an African woman called Sabonfu Some, which some of you might have heard of. But it was interesting. So there was a group of about 45 or 50 people, and we were doing grieving for 3 days, basically, into the night and things like that. And she says basically everything that we have in our society, everything everyone's talked about today, it's all from grief. But that's not my topic. But what I think is interesting is that because I make herbal things, soaps and things, and some clove had spilled on my shoe, some clove oil. And then when I was at this grieving ritual, I kept smelling this clove, and I'm like, who's got clove here? Who's got clove? Of course it was me, it was on my shoe. But then when I, you know, realized that that is actually for mourning and the bereaved, and that's what we were doing in this whole thing. So there's no accident, you know, that it spilled. And so again, just, I always love to look for the way that magic weaves itself into your life. Let's try, I'm trying to go into some, in an order here for my notes, but let's look, let me, oh, this one actually has a label on it. So this is mullein. Medicinally, I love mullein. But let's look at the, I'm going to tell you about some of the magical properties of mullein. And mullein is my friend. Amazing. It's really fluffy. Poke your fingers. I love to like just poke my fingers in there because it's so spongy and cottony and fluffy. But mullein is said to help courage. So you're needing a little courage. You could, you know, tuck a little of that in. And you can get that mullein. You could probably get at Mother's Market in the bulk herb aisle. That might be where I got that mullein actually.
And what uses would you use mullein for, like in cooking?
You know, it's not really used for cooking. It's used as a medicinal herb.
It goes on topically or in a tea?
You know, you can make a tea, but it's a little difficult because it has all these little hairs, as you'll feel, that make it fluffy. But actually, it can be used. It can be made into a tincture, which is herb put into a alcohol and let sit for several weeks, and then all the chemical properties go into that. And you just take the drops. So when you see those little drops of herbs, those are tinctures. But as far as the mystical and magical things, having with courage, protection, and so a lot of people like to have protection things, health, love, divination, and then especially helpful for this time of year, exorcisms. So if you're doing any exorcisms over the next few days because some unwanted spirits come in, you can call upon that mullein. This is very interesting, I found, because I love the history. I think it's nice to know about the history of things. So in spells, mullein can be used as a substitute for grave dust. And I'm not really a witchy person who does spells, but I'm sure that's just an interesting tidbit to learn. So that's mullein.
Spells are just intentions. They can have good intentions or not so good intentions.
Right. But again, back in the days of old, everything had a reason, and there was just very many layers and richness to all these things. So mullein actually is really can be good in an oil for ear infections, and it can be very good for the lungs. It's a miracle. It helped me immensely when I had pneumonia. So this is a favorite of almost everyone's. Let's see. I'm going to see if Reverend Danielle can tell us what this one is.
well, it's purple, so I'm thinking it might be lavender.
Ah, well, as soon as she opens the lid,
Oh,
she's gonna know.
so beautiful. It is lavender.
It is lavender. So these are lavender blossoms. And lavender medicinally is great for lots of things. Of course, now I've got my,
It's just lavender is just a panacea, isn't it?
it is. It's
just
great for everything.
all
It's
manner
good.
of
I'm trying to
things.
see if I have, here we go. Oh, yes. Well, this is the one I was going to say if my memory was serving right. So for these magical purposes, it's used in love spells. So you can do, things like that. And you could put the lavender oil on your clothing to attract love. Or you could just put those little flowers there.
It activates serotonin.
Yeah, there's a
I'm
lot of
just,
different.
I'm like really twittering up here,
Oh, yeah.
smelling that fresh, like directly outside of my eye.
Yeah, lavender is lovely. And I have lavender soap with those very lavender buds infused in the soap back there. And everyone loves these. Pick it up, and the smell of lavender. And lavender is a really lovely herb because it works. It's an adaptogen. Where you've heard probably lavender is good for relaxing, right? But actually, lavender, if you need more stimulation, so you're very tired and you need to be perked up or you're feeling lethargic, lavender can also do that. And this is the thing about the wisdom of plants, is that, an allopathic Western medicine has one thing it does. It can do this. It can, Valium will relax you, but Valium's never gonna, perk you up, okay? But lavender, depending on what you need, can stimulate you and make you feel refreshed, or if you're stressed, it can calm you. So you talk about the wisdom of the plants.
Acclimates to your needs.
Right. Because I've trained all over the world with different herbalists, and one thing I remember when I was in the Amazon jungle, and I was deep in the Amazon jungle, it took planes, trains, buses, boat rides up rivers into the deep middle of the jungle, and this is mullein. Yeah, that was the mullein. But what I learned from one of my teachers is, number one, in the Amazon, that's where a lot of our medicines come from. But you ask them, well, how did they learn what all of these herbs were for when you're in the Amazon jungle? And does anyone know what these herbal shamans in the jungle, how they tell you they learned about herbs?
Thousands of years of being passed down in the tribe, but I guess also experience, huh?
Well, they say that the plants themselves teach them. And one of my herbal teachers, in your final exam in one of the courses, you have to pick one green ally, and so, meaning a plant. And the only qualification for your research about this plant is you're not allowed to use any outside resources such as books, the internet. And so you forming that relationship and sitting with that plant and listening to the spirit of that plant, that is how you learn about the uses. And when these students would present their papers, and if you go and look up the written information, sure enough, what they said the plant is used for is what science says that it is used for. And so the people that use these plants, that from the very roots, these people that come from the tribes, that a lot of that knowledge has been lost, they say they learn it from communicating with the plant spirits.
It makes so much sense.
It does. Because if you look at the combination, they say, well, they just tried it, trial and error. There's so many plants that trial and error, it would just take so long. But having that, connection. The other thing that I loved, that especially coming from the medical field, is my herbal teacher from the Amazon. He says, I'm a doctor, I'm a healer, but I have specialists. And he pulled out a box full of different stones. And he says, just like there are, cardiologists and, obstetricians and all these different specialists in medicine, he goes, these are my specialist healers. And he would pull out one stone, or another stone. And the same with the plants. The plants are specialists. There are some plants that can heal a lot of things, but then there's the specialists. And I loved, again, that relationship of relating it to, this is actually, and they, in their songs they sing, they say doctor, and they sing the name of a plant. And they actually, call each plant a doctor, and it's an actual being to heal. So one last little magical property of lavender that I love, that I thought this was really funny. It's also supposed to protect against cruel treatment at the hand of a spouse. So if you have a cruel spouse, you can wear this to protect yourself from cruel treatment from a cruel spouse.
Or you can hit them with the pouches.
Yeah, you can do that. Oh, this is one of my favorite herbs. This one, I gather myself. I tried also to bring actually herbs that you could all get locally, because you hear of what the newest plant from the Amazon jungle that cures this, right? Or you hear of the newest plant from this place that cures that. But every plant that you need for healing grows natively around here. Because if you think about your creator, why would there be a disease present in your body that the cure is only thousands and thousands of miles away? Right? There's one in the Amazon jungle that's amazing, and we can market and make a lot of money off of it, and I'll have a lot of healing, but there are always ones that have the similar properties right in your own backyard. And so this is one of my favorite. I just have to smell it because I love her so much. This is mugwort. And so this grows anywhere you go out hiking here in Orange County, you're going to find mugwort. And this is famous. This is a really good female herb. But the reason it's called mugwort, like a cup of ale, a cup of brew, right, a cup of beer, and wort means herb. So whenever you hear of plants like called, something wort, it just means herb, a common herb, meaning a weed basically that just grows wild by the roadsides. And so here in North America, I guess hops and those kind of plants don't grow well, so they would make beers out of mugwort. So that's how it got the name mugwort. So the herb to, fill your mug with. But it's a wonderful, actually I'll tell you one medicinal property and how this symbiotic relationship of plants works together, just like, you'll have a symbiotic relationship, two people work together like maybe in a marriage or, as co-leaders of something. But our friend mugwort here, she grows next to, most often next to poison oak. So if you're out hiking and you happen to brush up against some poison oak, she almost always grows right next to it, and if you take her fresh leaves and you just rub them on your skin, you don't get the effects of the poison oak. And
I've actually heard that next to every poison or detrimental plant, there is the healing plant that grows right next to it.
Yeah, one time one of my little sons crawled without a shirt on. We were hiking, and he didn't have a shirt on. He literally crawled through. There was like a little opening in the plant, and it was poison oak, and he crawled through it. So his whole body was just brushed. And I was like, look, leaves of 3, let them be. You just crawled through poison oak. And so he's like, well, let's go find mugwort. So, we walked a few steps, and there was mugwort. We just took the leaves off, and just the fresh leaves, and just rubbed it like this all over the body. And he never had as much as a bump, any redness, nothing.
Wow.
And so it's just, again, beautiful. Again, the way everything, works together. But let me yes.
I actually do need to interrupt. I didn't realize the clock was slow. It's now 11:25, so we want to move on and do our meditation. And
okay.
So we need to wrap it up. But Chelle is going to be here afterwards to answer any questions. And she does have her class this afternoon. So if you feel like getting a bite to eat afterwards and coming back, it's going to be a wonderful class. And it starts at 1 o'clock.
Yes.
And she's gonna open up the tables here and have you cooking in your little stoves, and she's gonna show you how to do all
we're
kinds
actually
of fun
going to
things.
make medicine. So
thank you. So give Chelle a hand. That was really fun, wasn't it?
And being an herbalist, I do make, herbalists always, like to make little things. Besides medicines, I like to make fun things too. So I do have a little soap and body care company, Gaia's Garden, Bath and Botanica. So I just brought a few things back there of soaps that have herbs and plants in them. They're all made out of organic things, just all food items and all kinds of fun things for your body. So if you want to get anything like that, you can.
Okay. Everyone's going to pass out the donation envelopes while I do a few announcements. This afternoon is Chelle's class, and also Kim Flood's Reiki Level 2, which will be in the Goddess Room. Chelle will be in here. Monday, we have our Kundalini Fusion Vinyasa Yoga class, and we don't have the regular Kundalini for the next 2 weeks, as Laura Street is in India doing a sabbatical there. On Wednesday, which is the November 2nd, we're going to be doing, and Shelley is actually going to be here, we're doing an honoring of the Day of the Dead. It's going to start at 7:30 after my Accessing the Light class, and we're actually having a gentleman come in who's going to do some fresh tacos and burritos, and it's going to be a lot of fun, so you can come here, join the class. And this is not a seance or mediumship so much as an honoring of our deceased loved ones. And we all have somebody on the other side, parents, grandparents, or best friends. So this is just a day to really come and remember them, to send them our love and light. So it'll be a really fun class.
Can I just take 2 seconds?
Sure.
So what we're doing is just a traditional Day of the Dead celebration. So what we're doing is building an ofrenda, which is the altar. And so just if you're going to come, again, great Mexican food here you can come and purchase. But then just bring photos of your loved ones that have deceased, friends, family. You can bring favorite items of theirs, favorite foods, anything like that. And we just make a community altar. And it's going to be a very simple evening, but very, very beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And Jerry Yusko's class is the ET channeling. Jerry's in the back of the room here. If you have any questions, that's a fun class. And we also do a Nanda meditation. And we got so many fun things coming up. Shakti Tribe is going to be here Friday, December 9th. Some of you have already bought your tickets, but we hope to sell out, so please come and support us with some beautiful and amazing music. Deborah Shea has a class here on 11/11/11, which is a week from Friday. Do please go somewhere for 11/11/11, whether it's here or Sedona, or if you know of any other group that's meditating. But it's a really important date numerologically, and it's the last final double-digit day of all the same units before the 12/12/12, and it's actually being designated as even being more important than 12/12/12. It's the last wave of the energy coming in. So do please go somewhere and set intention. Even if it's your own home, take some time that day to set intention. We have a New Year's Eve party here, and it's going to be so much fun. We've got a band, a live band, and it's going to be catered by Twisted Noodle, the Thai restaurant across the street. Do dress up, wear all your fun cocktail clothes. We're going to move all the chairs out. We're going to have dancing and fun and food and music. And we're going to bring in 2012 together with some mocktails. We'll have some apple cider champagne. And there'll be no Sunday services the next day because we'll all be really tired and sleeping in. But it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't think of all the other things. Oh, in January, I am so blessed and amazed. We're going to be having a gentleman here. His name is Gerald Rivers. In his website, he calls himself a, quote, actor, but he's actually a channeler. And he's going to be coming here Sunday, January 8th, and he'll be channeling Martin Luther King in honor of his birthday. I've heard him several years ago. You think that you're in Alabama in the 60s listening to Martin Luther King. He brings the voice of this man through, and it is just chilling and amazing, and it's transcending what he does, so I do encourage you to do that. Next, we have all of our beautiful lineup of Sunday services coming next week. I can't think of who's next week. Do you remember, Chelsea? It's, I do remember. It's Tom Letter, and he's going to be doing a session on selenite swords. Selenite, this is the center of our center here. This is the herb, and he's made some beautiful swords, and he's going to have a workshop afterwards. And after that is Mary Beth Murphy, who's going to be talking to us about angels. And I will not be here for the Sunday service on November 13th, as Aum Now will be in Sedona, and I'll be setting intention there, and I'll be with you in spirit. Deborah Shea is going to be ministering for me that day on the 13th, so please come and support her, and Mary Beth will be the guest speaker. Go ahead and grab some pillows for your meditation if you want to, and I'm going to make my version of the meditation a little bit shorter, and I'm going to give a head nod here to Gabriel, who is